So, I went on my first business trip, first real one at least, just this last week. It's my Empires of the Middle Ages went on hiatus for a bit. And the cost was very high on me in terms of total time. I mean, obviously nobody wants to do this, but I'm thinking about other trips that I've taken and why they didn't bother me as much. Maybe in terms of what's going forward with them. So first of all, I spend it was a Monday through Friday deal. I spent the weekend before, and not preparing my work particularly. I mean, I wanted to, I just couldn't. I spent most of it just worrying, and stressing about the whole issue. And I do that tremendously about everything, anything like this. If I have time to prepare for a change, preparing for the change means avoiding doing anything except worrying about the change. But I got a little bit of work together towards putting together a presentation, but very, very little. I was by no means ready to do so. But then when I got there on Monday, to my hotel room, I kind of had Monday off as a travel day because of the other time, etc. Once I got Monday off, once I got in, I got an email which indicated that what I was preparing anyway wasn't the right thing to prepare, that I had to cover other points that I wasn't covering. So, as usual, I find out it's always best not to do things because until emergency kicks in, because usually the desires change. And I've had this with my testing so many times where if I started ahead of time by too much and don't get people to approve a plan, back before we had plans for testing, it ends up, oh no, you're doing all the wrong things, which is really the biggest bonus for having a test plan. It gets me thinking about it, breaks it into little steps, etc. But that's something completely different. But then actually being there, wonderful hotel, nice walks to and from work, about an hour each way. But I did nothing. I mean, other than the work. I had a great deal of enjoyment in being able to meet the people and getting a lot of questions answered, I think, in both directions, so that people understood what the hell I'm doing, and we both were seeing how we could help each other. But I'm talking more in terms of just pure personal side of things. I would get home, and it wasn't in a great area to explore. It was kind of a little cluster of hotels, and then there really wasn't anything outside of that, business parks and maybe a couple of fast food joints. So I had to get on a train to get anywhere interesting, and I finally did that on my last night there. On my last night there, but I still went too early to enjoy the night, which is fine. I have to get up real early every day anyhow. This is built into me for work. I was getting up late there. I was getting up at like 7 instead of 6. Actually, towards the end, at 8 o'clock. But yeah, the first day I went swimming at the hotel pool, I didn't swim again. And I didn't, I mainly just sat in my hotel room, and on the first couple of days got on the computer. I was so tired of being on the computer towards the end that I would just kind of watch TV. Boy, is that a mistake. There's a reason I don't have a television in my life. I can't stop. At least with the internet, whatever sites I'm dedicated to trolling, slow down You know, there's no additional input for me to get. Now I can putz around and find, more sites, and that can be an expensive process, or look at videos from game reviews or whatever. But with the television, it's just sitting there feeding me, and then, oh, I'm at the end of an hour. Let's see what else is on somewhere else. I may be missing something important. I'll never get to see it again. Yeah, I never really, when I had cable available all the time, I didn't quite feel that way. But at the very least, I could watch news all night long, which is mainly what I did. I watched a couple other things. But, I was working actually there fairly long hours, nothing terrible. But then bringing work home and trying to do that as well. But largely, for say I'm working 9 hours a day and 2 hours in transit, that's 11 hours, there's still 13 hours. Now let's pretend I got 8 hours of sleep, but I didn't because of the television. But there's a 5-hour period there that I felt like I'm just wasting, plus whatever I'm wasting when I'm not sleeping. Not that I do a lot more at home, but it's less draining. Watching television is terribly draining. Mainly because I can't stop. It's and then there's the travel time. On the Monday basically was wasted in this because that's when I did my packing. I head out the door at 9 a.m. And I don't get in to my airport until 4 p.m. It's not like it was a long flight, but they tell you get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time, which is pretty much bullshit, but my flight was on time, so I didn't have to wait too long. But on the way back, there had been some travel delays, etc., so there was an extra hour in there. And there I left work, I think around 5, maybe a little later. Had to take the rail and a shuttle, and try to check in. I'm dead tired already. And sitting around in the airport waiting for the plane for an extra hour, more than I normally would. It's painful, and that's one of the things. Planes used to not be on time a lot. They've gotten better, I think, in recent years. The last few flights I've taken, very few have been delayed without good cause. But now I'm back, and it's hard to integrate back into my normal life. I got in last night and stayed online for a while. I know that I have a lot of things to do before Monday. I have to deal with a lot of bills. I have some other personal stuff that has to get out of the mail. I have to clean my goddamn place. That's one of the things I look and I say, oh my God, I live in hell. I've just got so many things to try to make my life. Being out of this life for a week made me realize, coming back, how bad it is and what I have to do to fix it here. But then I also want to do something. It's been more than a week and I haven't gone out, I haven't done anything really. I did things while I was there. I did go out that last night. But what did I do? I went to one restaurant to eat. So I'm like the cheapest person, so when I'm out there, I'm just as cheap. So I ate most of my meals in they have a really wonderful setup there where there's like bread and peanut butter and stuff like that available. So I ate a lot of food there, or food that they just provided me that was going to get paid for anyway. But when I was on my own, my first meal was at a sub shop. I ate at a breakfast joint. So I did what I was going to make my kind of more fancy meal. Whether this is me paying or them, I'm not even sure, but I'm assuming they're going to cover those kind of costs. But I mean, and I was assuming that all along. I'm just still as cheap with other people's money as I am with my own. So I went to a Japanese dinner special someplace, kind of a out-of-the-way little place. But then I walked around downtown, and it's obvious there were lots of clubs and places I would be interested in going and checking out and everything. And if I lived there, I probably would. You know, in the first year that I moved to a place or get hooked on a place, I try to explore it a lot. But there seemed no point in going to such a thing now. Yeah, and that was the whole thing, everything there. I didn't want to go to anything because, you know, I'm alone, and I can be just as happy alone just walking or whatever. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to entertain myself terribly much. But I feel kind of a regret that I didn't learn more about the city while I was there, kind of. I don't know why. It just feels like one of those things you should do. So my other trips that I had before, you know, I'd have vacations. And I still have that. And there's an expense to them as well. And I kind of dread them and try to avoid them for that. I mean, first of all, they end. I hate things that end. But also, just the extra effort, you know, it takes me a couple days to cope with. And it's not like I pack a lot. I throw, you know, one bag together for whatever. But I only had one trip that I think really qualified as similar to this, where I went in for an interview and I had to fly in and out. But that was totally different. I mean, I was living. I didn't have any structure in my life to break, really. I mean, my structure was do nothing and send out resumes all over the place. And the other side of it was only a couple days, you know. So I was just in and out, and there wasn't time to think and brood on this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm hoping to avoid these in the future as much as possible. I mean, it was a great opportunity, and it definitely helped my work situation, but in terms of personal life, wow, I'm the wrong person to do this.